Now, the basis of this economic recovery plan, it is patriotic in nature, and it is saying put South Africa first. And an economy requires people to participate in there. And if you do not have people participating in the economy, then that economy does not work in the best interest of the people. That is why from time to time, you're going to have people that are saying, regardless whether the rand appreciates or depreciates, it means nothing to us because we do not have jobs, we do not have businesses, we are not actively participating in the economy. Now, we're saying as the ATM, it is unacceptable and it cannot be that close to 30 million South African citizens are dependent on the state for social assistance. Now, priority of the government post-lockdown, when the economy is being opened, it is to put the South Africans first and ensure South Africans are participating in the economy. Now, we've got economy whereby people can have businesses. I've spoken at length about that one. I want to focus on the employment part. Our labor laws are very clear that non-South African citizens can only work in our country if they've got scarce and critical skills. We need to take a posture that when South Africa needs a particular skill, it is the one, and we don't have in our country, it is the one that will actively go out to the countries to say, we want this particular skill. And when we have this person, they must come to our country, and a clear plan of skills transfer must be developed so that this skill can be transferred to the local, so that in the near future, locals can be participated and these skills can be amongst the South African citizens. If you look at the reality, we're not talking about ideas, or we're not talking about things that are in the sky. We're talking about realities that many companies, including the government, have broken the labor laws of our country. Hence, you find that you're going to have cleaners that are not South African, security guards that are not South African, and you're going to have waiters that are not South African. I can ask a person here in Cape Town, Joburg, Durban, or Pretoria, when last did you go to a restaurant and be served by a South African? And if it's not a South African that is serving you, who should be serving you? Hence, we're saying our labor laws must prioritize South Africans. Our labor laws, the implementation thereof, it must be patriotic in nature. It cannot be that the majority of Uber drivers, it is people that are not South African. Whereas we've got so many young people in our country who have driver's licenses. And you find that our young people end up living a life of crime, living a life of drugs because they are excluded economically. So that is why we are saying the time has come for our labor laws to be fully complied with. And the government, during this period of the lockdown or the reopening of the economy, only the companies that are not breaking the labor laws must be allowed to open. If a company is found to have employed a lot of non-citizens, and these non-citizens are working on jobs in which South Africans can do, then those companies must be actually closed down, and we need to reopen the economy for companies that are willing to respect and adhere to the labor laws. It is very discouraging for our young people that they were told that education is the key to success. Our young people went to school, they're sitting at home with degrees and diplomas, with qualifications. You have young people whereby they've got more than 10 years without jobs, and you've got people coming from China, coming from Japan, coming from Thailand. Most of our power stations, most of those artisans there, they are coming from Taiwan, Thailand, all of these Asian countries. Whereas we've got young people in our country without jobs. We as the ATM, we're not going to accept that nonsense. We're not going to allow that to go any further. We are going to push the government to put the interests of South Africans first. Even if, we take the million jobs that are done by non-South Africans, it means the unemployment will decrease. It means there's going to be more money that will be available for South African families to use to actually nurture their own homes. That is why we're saying our labor laws must be implemented, and all of these companies that want to abuse non-South African citizens, they must be given the heftiest fines as possible. And we're saying to the government that you cannot treat South Africans the manner in which you've been treating South Africans for the past 26 years. It cannot be that you told our young people they need to go to school, and indeed they went to school, they passed with flying colors. Now they are doctors, they've got masters, they've got honors degrees, but you refuse to give them jobs. You give jobs to people who are coming from the far parts of the world, whereas we've got citizens in our country who desperately need those jobs. So we're saying without any fear or without any compromise, we want South Africans to dominate the employment, the labor diversity in our country. We want South Africans to be employed in South Africa, and this is a practice all over the world, that you cannot go to a country and do a work that could be done by the citizens. So that must be the case even here in South Africa. Thank you.